while the world is sound asleep, and too afraid of what might show up while you're dreaming. Nobody sees you. Nobody will believe you. And every day you try to pick up all the pieces, all the memories that somehow never leave you. Nobody sees you. Nobody will believe you. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows. You keep a cover over every single secret, so afraid if someone saw them they would leave. But somebody sees you. Somebody will never leave you. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. But there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows. For the lonely, for the ashamed, the misunderstood and the ones to blame. What if we could start over? We could start over. We could start over. Oh, for the lonely, for the ashamed, the misunderstood and the ones to blame. What if we could start over? We could start over. We could start over. 'Cause there's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. But God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows. God only knows where to find you. God only knows how to break through. God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
Man, so how y'all doing? Well, I'm gonna get straight to business because I don't want to hold you up. Plus, I don't want to be here alone myself. We back to visiting this Karmelo Anthony situation, man. There's a lot going on as far as on social media. You know, I follow several people and they voice their opinions, you know, and a lot of people they voice lies or whatever. And like a lot of people seem like they're using this situation to really just, you know, unveil who they really are inside. Like they looking to be divisive, you know what I mean? Like nobody trying to get to the facts. And the only facts that we have is, you know, a good kid made a bad decision that may cost him a good portion of his life. Another kid, you know, is now deceased. But we do have some paperwork starting to come out, and we have the actual arrest report with, you know, the officers and things on Karmelo. So we're going to go through that, just tap in, just see what type of details that we can get, you know. Of course, it's online or whatever, and some people may not feel like taking the time out to read it. So we're just going to go through that, you know, pick out key points and see, can we get some type of idea of what really took place, you know, and whether Karmelo stands a chance with his self-defense defense, you know. So we're gonna go through that a little bit. But before I get into that, you know, that there's been people just fabricating things, photoshopping pictures, making fake, you know, medical examiner reports and all these type of things. So the Frisco Police Department, they decided to come out, you know, and make a statement or whatever, talking about it. You know, they're aware of the images circulating on social media, purporting to be a report from Collin County Medical Examiner's Office. And, you know, only, you know, saying that it's false, only official releases from verified accounts should be trusted. Do not contribute to the misinformation by spreading unconfirmed information, you know. And so that medical examiner's report was saying that the young man, the deceased, had like drugs in the system and, you know, all this type of stuff here. And so it was the drugs that, you know, actually caused his demise, and, you know, the actual stabbing was secondary. So we know that that report is false. But another thing that stood out to me was a statement that the Frisco chief had made. And in that statement, I'm gonna actually put the statement up here. It was just some things that stood out to me. And I understand the intent, but I know that people, you know, that are professional, they know how to word things, or their publicists or whatever know how to word things. And I thought these things could possibly be damaging or even adding to, you know, the somewhat contentious atmosphere that we're living in with this situation right here. Because, you know, don't get me wrong, I've seen a lot of blacks, they you know, they think that, hey man, this young man did what he did and he deserves whatever happened to him. But then there's a lot of blacks that are in support of him, you know. And I've seen also some whites in support of him, but, you know, I've been seeing a lot of white people or whatever that was like, you know, nah, he got to go down type thing. So the Frisco police chief, he released a statement saying, this week, our Frisco community suffered the devastating loss of one of our young residents because of a senseless act of violence. On behalf of the Frisco Police Department, I want to offer our deepest condolences to all the families involved, especially the Metcalf family. And, you know, he goes on to speak about keeping the city safe and all this type of stuff, you know, how kids have to, you know, understand, you know, make better decisions, because decisions that they can make can affect their lives, you know, for a long time, you know. So he talks about that. But what really stood out to me was just the first paragraph, where he speaks about our Frisco community suffered the devastating loss of our young residents because of a senseless act of violence. You know, and me, I would have said, you know, our Frisco residents basically, you know, had suffered the devastating loss due to maybe a senseless tragedy. You know what I mean? Because when you say a senseless act of violence, it almost seems like it puts it, the violent act or the act was violent and not necessarily self-defense on Karmelo. You know what I'm saying? And maybe I'm looking at it wrong, or maybe I'm looking too deep. You know what I'm saying? Correct me if I'm wrong. If you agree, you know, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. But to say there was a senseless act of violence, it almost seems like Karmelo was being the violent one, and there was no sort of justification whatsoever. And I'm not saying that there was justification. You know, they can only, you know, get all the facts or whatever. And salute, Frost, salute. Yeah, bro, you definitely gonna have to hit this link. You know what I mean? Did I pin the link? I pinned the link at the top of the chat, but I'm gonna share this link again, because you very opinionated, you know, on social media. I be seeing people coming at you, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to, you know, hear your side as I go through this. Okay, so here's the link right here. You hit on that, and it'll walk you through it, how to get up here, whatever, put whatever name you want to put in there, avatar, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Show your face or don't show your face. But yeah, I felt like that, you know, using, you know, because of a senseless act of violence, kind of like puts it on Karmelo, and you being the police chief or whatever, I think you should be more careful with your words. So I don't know if that's a mistake by the publicists or what, but I don't know. I don't. A lot of people feel like it wasn't an act of violence; it was self-defense. And as we go through this police report, the mindset that Karmelo was in, at least afterwards, was that it was self-defense. So but I don't know. We'll get into that a little bit more. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get into this. It's some things that I still been searching and trying to confirm whether it was true or not. And I think that it added fuel to the fire as far as how people felt about Karmelo, and we've had this discussion before in other lives about how the media can paint a picture of, a young black male, whether this young black male is being, the one that's committing an act or the act is committed against, so, and I saw a report and it was supposed to have been from CBS News, and I didn't fact check it or not, but it was saying how Karmelo had previously faced a suspension for bringing a knife to school before. And salute, King LS. Thanks for being here. East Atlantic, I forgot to salute all y'all specialists. Jug FL, of course, Queen 88, appreciate you. Pretty Problem, Nisha, thanks for being here. But yeah, so I don't know. It hasn't been confirmed that, whether or not he had been suspended for having a knife at school before or not. If anybody knows anything like that, I mean, y'all can let me know. I just don't know. But I feel like if they put that out there, they should at least know for a fact, because it began to paint a picture of this young man, from the very beginning, like actually the day after, this tragedy took place. So we have things coming from the police chief as well as the media or whatever, and it almost seems like they paint a picture of him being the violent one, and he has a history of this. And a lot of times when you're facing charges, you can have a solid defense or a reason or whatever, but your history can convict you more than the actual charge that you're facing. I've experienced that. So I want to find out as much as I can about those things that were put out there, supposedly by CBS News. Okay, well, let's just dive right into this report, this arrest report. And where we go? You up here, Frost? There we go. Nah, he's not. Okay. Now, I tried this screen sharing yesterday, so I'm gonna try this again. You know what I mean? And hopefully it works out. If it don't, then I may just have to, wing it. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna try to screen share it again. I'm not too savvy with this stuff, but over time, hopefully, it'll get better. Let's see. I don't think it's sharing. Let me see. Share screen. Here we go. We're gonna go here. Then we're gonna go here. And then we're gonna go on this here. Hopefully y'all can see that. And that's just the first page of the arrest report, where basically tells the location where it took place. I believe the stadium name was David Cookendale Stadium or something in Frisco. Get a little details about Karmelo, black male, 17 years old, color of eyes and all that. Height 5'9". He weighed about they got 130 right here. But I saw reports of him weighing 167 before. So anyway, let's just give a few details about that. But when you go down, of course, he's charged with murder, which is in Texas Penal Code 19.02. So when you go down, it gets into the officers, and here we have, I wish I can expand that a little bit more. This thing is you have to be very gentle with it when you're trying to do it. But it gets into the first officer here, Officer Cortez. And he basically talks about when he got there, he had got a call and he reported there, and the suspects reported as being a black male wearing a gray hoodie and blue sweatpants. So he left, his office, ran across the Staley Middle School parking lot, so on and so forth. Gives a little details like that. So then he speaks about when he proceeded towards the north end of the stadium when he got there. And once he arrived to the north end of the bleachers, there was an adult male on the track, and this adult male pointed out exactly, where Karmelo was. So once he did that, we'll go to page 2 here. And in page 2, let's see, hold up. Let me go back. Let me go back here first. Come on, get off of there. All right. Okay, he goes further on in his report here, and I'm trying to get this to expand, man. It's very sensitive. When you hit it, it'll take me all the way out. Yep, sure did. Okay, I can get it expand a little bit, maybe. Damn this shit. Excuse my language. It's don't want to expand, man. Well, anyway, in this report here, he talks about how he takes Karmelo in custody. Let me get it. My bad. This shit is very sensitive, man. This MacBook, I'm trying to do this. Okay, he speaks about how he gave Karmelo instructions to keep his hands up. And then during that time, Karmelo said verbally out loud, I was protecting myself, so he said he noted, he didn't question Karmelo or anything like that. And he goes on, he asked Karmelo if he had any weapons. He patted him down for weapons while he was walking along the fence. He didn't locate anything on him. He instructed Karmelo to continue walking. While they was walking off of the track, he said that Karmelo said he put his hands on me. So while they're walking, Karmelo at first told him, look, I was protecting myself. Then when he got him, they was walking. Karmelo told him, man, he put his hands on me. And so he took Karmelo down further. He sat him down on the ground. And then that's when Officer Ricci, another officer, arrived. And while they were walking to the track, he said he put his hands on him. Then he detained the suspect in handcuffs, handcuffed him in the back, put him on the ground. Officer Ricci arrived on the scene, conducted another pat down of Karmelo, searched his person. After he gave me consent, no weapons were located. While the suspect sat on the ground, I advised that I had alleged suspect. Then he said, Karmelo respond, I am not alleged, I did it. So Officer Ricci, he walked Karmelo to the patrol car. Excuse me. He walked Karmelo to the patrol car. Man, I can even get this shit bigger, man. Hold on. Hell, that's too big. I damn near can't even see them. Anyway, Officer Ricci walks Karmelo to the patrol car. And as they walk in, Karmelo was very emotional and everything. And Karmelo tells them that, look, man, he put his hands on me. I told him not to, So when they put Karmelo back in the patrol car, this is all on page 2, coming from Officer Cortez. When they put Karmelo back into put him into the patrol car, they say they noticed like fresh blood on his left middle finger, and so he acknowledged that on the body cam. And get there, they checked the identity and everything. But before that, he said that Karmelo had asked him. I'm trying to find that part. Say notice on his middle finger. He checked him in the school database to make sure that that was him, and that was it. So next we have Officer Ricci that had arrived on the scene. But I believe Officer Cortez was the one that Karmelo had asked him, is he going to be okay? You know what I mean? So we have to this officer right here, Officer Cortez, several statements according to him that Karmelo had made. The first one being, I was protecting myself. He put his hands on me. Then he also told him that, look, he put his hands on me. I told him not to, and then he asked him, is he going to be okay? Oh, she backstage. Hold on. Let me get, I don't see it. Oh, okay. We got Frost back here and Queen 88. Salute. What's going on?
What's happening?
Salute.
And that man going over this, I be having technical difficulties, man. So I be trying to make this thing work. But just going over a few of these things, man. I know you got your opinion about it all or whatever. So I'm gonna try to just shoot through it all, get the key points out that I got, and then we're gonna dive in on how you feel about it and how you feel about it. So so I'm gonna get to the let's see. Bam. So we know, according to Officer Cortez, that Karmelo made several statements or whatever. As we go down further to Officer Ricci or whatever, he basically he tells the same story as Officer Cortez, but he added some statements from Karmelo, and he says down here that where is he? He said that Karmelo made some another spontaneous statement, and Karmelo asked him if what had happened could be considered self-defense. This is what he said that Karmelo asked him, this Officer Ricci. So at this point, we have at least 5 statements from Karmelo, about, hey, he put his hands on me. I asked him not to, of course, they said he was emotional, he was crying and all these things. And then he tell him, like, look, man, I told him not to, don't put his hands on me. Let me see if I can get to this page 3 here. So they went on, they took blood of Karmelo's finger and all these things. So now Officer Otis comes in as another officer. And here he tells how he was dispersed to the stadium or whatever. And all that is on page 3 under this Officer Otis. Since I got Frost up here and Queen 88, I'm going to try to just go over my quick notes, not even going into where it is located on this. I'm just going to go through my quick notes under each officer name. So you can go back and you can check it out, whatever. Whoever interested in this, it might not even interest some people, but it's interesting to me because I was like, how is he going to try to beat this thing based off of what these officers are saying as well? So we have Officer Otis here, his report. Salute, Keisha. In his report, he talks about he got there on April the 2nd around 10:01. He received emergency communications about an athlete had been stabbed, unknown assailant. And then they found out there was a black male wearing gray hoodie, blue sweatpants, goatee, short hair. So when he arrived, he noticed 2 officers walking Karmelo away from the stadium, which would have been Officer Cortez and Officer Ricci. And he said the suspect was crying hysterically, So then he walked over to the visitor bleachers and he observed Austin Metcalf, the deceased kid, the kid that was stabbed, being treated by the Frisco Fire Department and the trainers. So then it just started raining, he was saying, and the Frisco ISD staff, they moved the tent, the tent where all this was supposed to happen. They moved the tent over on top of where they were working on Austin Metcalf. So I don't know if Austin had ran off or walked off or whatever after being stabbed or whatever. So they moved the tent over to him. And this officer here, Officer Otis, started taking crime scene pictures, putting up tape. Then there were some witnesses that was telling him, where the knife is. you know. So he goes over to where the knife is, and they didn't want to touch it, so he put a tarp over the knife. And another officer, Officer Witzel, you know, he began logging different individuals that were around witnesses into the call log. And he said he went back to the station, downloaded some photos, and then that was basically it. So then we get down here to Officer Witzel. You know, he said he arrived around 10:06. He began to grab crime scene tape. He went over to where Austin Metcalf, the deceased kid, and as he was walking, a witness identified himself. He said, when I arrived on the scene, he grabbed the tape and all of this. He says, while I was walking towards the visitor bleachers, I was approached by a witness who identified himself as Jay. Of course, they marked out the whole name. Began telling me what happened. And I asked him where the stabbing occurred. I guess Jay advised it happened under the Memorial School pop-up tent in the visitors' bleachers. I immediately informed Sergeant Otis where the witness stated the stabbing occurred and gave the crime scene tape to start securing the crime scene. I then had Jay, I believe, to move to the walkway under the visitors' bleachers out of the rain to further speak with me. The following is the summary of my contact with witness Jay. Advised he was sitting under the Memorial School pop-up tent with his team and was near. So I'm gonna go over here to 4. If I get out this one, I believe this is 4 here. He said, which the pop-up tent, they were sitting under the pop-up tent, which was near the victim. He said Austin and the suspect, who was later identified as Karmelo Anthony. Anthony was from Centennial High School, was sitting under the Memorial School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under their team's tent. And Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, touch me and see what happens.
That's a goddamn lie. Go ahead.
Hold on. He said, touch me.
Yeah, hurry up there. I'm ready to pop my shit. My apologies. Go ahead.
Hey, we gotta get to it. He said, touch me and see what happens. So this is witness Jay speaking here. He said no one really thought Anthony really had any weapon in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Anthony. Right? So, you know, Karmelo told him, touch me, see what happened. You know, Austin put his hands on Karmelo, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. And a short time later, Austin grabbed Karmelo to tell him to move. And Anthony pulled out what witness Jay recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. Austin began grabbing his chest and telling everyone to get help. You know what I mean? And Jay advised he did not know Karmelo's name, but stated another Memorial Track member, which they has here as EP, was friends with Anthony, and he could identify Anthony. I guess EP described Anthony as a black male, skinny with possibly a goatee and puffy hair, And so that was officers that was Officer Witzel's report. So we have it here from this witness here that, you know, Austin went to Karmelo and, you know, told him, you know, hey, you got to move around or whatever. Karmelo told him, like, look, man, touch me if you want to, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he grabbed him. So we have 2 instances because he said that he actually touched him at first. You know, he touched Karmelo at first, and then a short time later, he grabbed Karmelo. You know, and this is according to this witness Jay right here. So, and then that's when Karmelo, you know, proceeded to stab Austin. So we have Officer Hancock here. I went through his. He really ain't have anything of significance about, you know, anything. He just arrived on the scene or whatever, told what he did when he got there. But when we get to Officer, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. Damn, man, this shit get on my nerve. I should have did like I wanted to do the first time. But anyway, when we get to Officer Fisher down here, Officer Fisher, he speaks about when he arrives, he asks witnesses, he was asking for witnesses, and then he made contact. I think this part is significant, man. I got to blow this up. What the fuck? I mean, what the heck is wrong with this shit? Come on, bro. I need a new laptop. But anyway, he said he made contact with let me start here. When I arrived, the crime scene was already marked off and the suspect was in custody. I began asking people if they were witnesses to anything. I made contact with Hunter M. and then EP. And he put BM, black male. They were both breathing heavily and crying due to the nature of events. They were with coaches on the field and it was pouring down rain. We made the decision to relocate to a locker room just to the east to get out of the rain. Once in there, things calmed a little bit. However, they were still hysterical and could not really talk. In there, I learned Hunter was the brother of the victim. So this officer made contact with Hunter Metcalf, Austin, the deceased brother. He said, I attempted to ask them both what had happened. I could not really get anything out of Hunter, but EP stated he wanted to speak. I asked him what happened. He stated they were all sitting on the bleachers under the Memorial High School tent when another male who he did not know walked over and sat under the tent. EP then said Austin, the victim, told the male that since he did not go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. Austin and the male went back and forth, and then Austin stood up and pushed the male, Karmelo, to get him out of the tent. EP said during the time of arguing, the male was reaching around in his bag he had. It was at this time that the male took out the knife and stabbed Austin and then left the scene. This was all EP remembered when he talked to me. So we have this other witness here now saying what went down, and he says they were arguing or whatever, and Austin had pushed them, and then it went from there. So we have another witness saying that, okay, there was some type of argument there. Things just didn't happen. Like, hey, you need to get from under the tent, and okay, you pushed me, and then just telling him to push me, and he pushed me, stabbed him. They had argued for a minute. We don't know what was being said during that, engagement or encounter. So we go down here further. We go down here to Officer Crawford. Officer Crawford, I checked him out. He really ain't have anything of significance to say. So I'm gonna go over here to page 5. When we get to page 5, I wish I was enlarging this thing when I was practicing. I don't know what the hell wrong with it. So we get over here to page 5. I think this is Officer Shaw's. Yeah, he didn't have anything of significance, just saying he showed up there or whatever. Also, Officer Pemberton, how he showed up, basically helped with the crime scene and all of this. But we get down here to Officer Newton here. And based off of Officer Newton, he had a few interesting things, you know what I mean? And I don't know if I want to go into detail about that or whatever, but he arrived at the hospital. I'm just going to, just cover. He met him at the hospital, whatever. And Austin was deceased, and he took the pictures and waited on the medical examiner and all these other things, and waited till they came and took possession of the kid's body. RIP to the kid. We get to 6 here. Let me cancel that. And here we have Officer Higgins. And Officer Higgins, just long story short, he worked at the police station in Frisco. And he said around 10:42, a white male walked in the main lobby and stated that he was a witness to the stabbing. He gave the white male, a voluntary witness statement. and told him basically to wait on the detectives or whatever. Then we get down to Officer Craig here, and long story short, the witnesses around. I mean, he was instructed to take like three of the Memorial High School students' phones, and he took that witness J, he took EP, and then he took another witness MN, took that witness' phone. Then they was instructed to go to the school buses and was told to take the cell phones from them, and later turned them over to the sergeant. After being relieved, I was asked to make contact with all the Frisco Independent School District athletes that had been placed on the school bus. And below is a list of these children that had been placed on the school bus or whatever. And there was different schools, Liberty, Memorial, and all the other ones that were there. I don't think it was anything of significance on 7. Let me hit 7 real quick. Yeah, it just lays out the different students that they, got as witnesses, and just different people or whatever. And that was basically it. So all we really got from, let me stop sharing here. All we really got from the arrest report, I mean, the facts that I got, I mean, I don't know if they're facts or not, but what the witnesses were saying that, okay, he was under the tent or whatever, and, he was asked to leave for whatever reason. And, they had an argument, and he told him, like, all right, put your hands on me if you want to, basically, and according to one witness, he pushed him once, and a short time later, he grabbed him. And, I guess around that time, the first encounter, Karmelo was reaching his bag already while they was bumping, you know what I mean? And Karmelo she had the knife out, and when he grabbed him that second time or whatever, Karmelo stabbed him. So those are things that we have coming from the witnesses thus far. No video footage has been released yet from, the kids' phones or anything of that nature. So, hey, you have some people that are saying, hey, that's self-defense. You know what I mean? And I don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, how you feel about it?
So me?
Yeah.
All right. So my sentiments come directly from my parents. My parents ain't together, right? But I talked to both of them after I started going on my little tangents or whatever. So one thing I can say, both my parents, if I were in that position and I ended up having to talk to them behind that glass, the first thing that they would tell me is I had a 1,000 different decisions I could have made that day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing that I try to get across was a couple things. The first thing is he had different decisions that he could have made. Bottom line. Now, getting into the dynamics of the decisions, that becomes, different topics of discussion. My personal opinion is, and I've told a few people this, I don't know a single D1 17-year-old athlete that's getting bullied, regardless of where he's at. What I can say is I'm not even arguing opinion or what could have been whenever I say what I say about this. All I'm saying is the same thing that everybody agrees on. He took a knife to a school event. He was in somebody else's tent. Nigga could have easily, if he wanted to, done two things. Either tried his hands out with the people that he was there with, if it was his partners, or told. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, the main thing is with me is everybody's been in school events. Everybody's been, well, not everybody, but people that have been in sports, that, hey, not only is it competitive, but if you're a man, it's testosterone driven. And also people have pride in their schools. There's certain things, and I'm not, again, this ain't excusing what Austin did, because I don't really give a fuck what he did. Because honestly, like, nigga, yeah, I say, and I've been called a sociopath for saying, you step on my toes 9 times, the 10th time, if I pull out a gun and shoot you in your head, nigga, that's your fault. Me saying that also says I understand the consequences that come with that, right? And we can try to fight it. I'll do whatever I want to do. But the thing is, if you do something, you know, there's no accountability. I feel like a lot of the issue is it's less accountability and more we shall overcome. You feel me? And like, I don't necessarily feel like this is a we shall overcome situation, because if it was two black boys, we wouldn't be talking about it because both sides would have the black backing. It would be, oh, that was a good boy. He had a 4.0 GPA that got killed. Oh, that was a good boy, a 4.0 that got. Honestly, the same thing I posed on Facebook initially was, if it was the opposite situation and a white boy was in DeSoto, how would people be reacting? Fuck that. I'll accept that people won't even acknowledge that. But if it was two black boys, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. That's my issue with how people are approaching it, right? My thing is, I'm not defending the white boy and I'm not condemning the black boy. What I am saying is, even if it is in a tone that may make people uncomfortable, all I'm saying is, if we ever gonna get better, we got to identify and weed out the bullshit. Whether it's a good boy who did some bullshit or a bad nigga that continues to do bullshit, at some point we have to weed it out and say, hey, this is an example for what not to do. Not, well, that baby, we don't know what was going on with that baby. And then when the shit comes out that actually says there was no jumping going on, there's no indication of any sort of bullying prior to. All the information that people are spreading and using as their crux of their argument aren't substantiated. That's my issue. It's not my issue with him. It's not my issue with I'm not trying to be no white power, you know what I'm saying? Trying to be on the white boy side or none of that. Honestly, I'm a nigga. Realistically, I'm a real nigga. A nigga that's gone through nigga shit all the time. I'm not trying to be on no white boy side, but what I am trying to do is understand, not even understand, I don't even want to understand that. I want to change how we respond to bullshit, because it's just like the culture that we call the culture, which has been hijacked by shit that ain't progressive. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that. I'll give you a perfect example of perversion of a good thing. No snitching. No snitching started with who? The mob, right? The Costa Nostra. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that shit is. How it go? Liberty or death or whatever the fuck. I forget whatever the fuck they say. Point being is, with that is the culture that we talk about representing and what people back has become perverted. You know what I'm saying? The no snitching shit was what I was getting to. No snitching came to a point to where if you seen a rapist on your block, nigga, if you tell the police you're a snitch, there's a certain perversion that's come with what people have good intentions behind. Because no snitching is proper. If you hustling with a nigga and you get arrested, telling on him because you got caught that's bullshit. But if there's a rapist on my motherfucking block, nigga, I'm where do we be? Where did this shit become convoluted to where what's right is different from what we believe? Because I feel like as a black people, we so stuck on the whole that's my baby and he ain't do nothing, and if he did, he had a reason, that we just can't accept the fact that, okay, the nigga 4.0 GPA, something, however many motherfucking scholarships. If this nigga had hit and runs, or not hit and run, if he had got caught selling weed or some shit, we would say, oh damn, that nigga fucked up his life. You had a whole opportunity to be better out here, but you decided to do this. Everybody talking about a nice kid, he's a good kid, all that other shit. That's fine as well. Name one nice kid you know right now to this day that stabbed somebody because they were into it or had an issue.
And I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but I think you're kind of moving it from what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
What you mean?
I know there's a perversion in our thinking when it comes to dealing with, blacks, and we make excuses and whatever. And I'm with you on that. You know what I'm saying? I was one of the first to say that, look, that knife at school could have got him 10 years anyway.
Just with stabbing somebody. So to even act as if, because the thing is, the type of communication I've been getting off of my posts is like, well, you ain't been in no high school event. All the kids carry weapons. So, nigga, just because it's normal don't make it right.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
my question is to you. My question is to you based off of the paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay, we know he was wrong for having a knife. You know what I'm saying? But do he has a claim for self-defense by being?
But was this is the bottom? This is the end all be all black and white of it. Was it a life or death situation for him?
Who knows?
No. Cause at a Frisco track meet in the middle of Frisco with however many schools around, you into it with a nigga. Is it a real life or death situation if nobody has a weapon? How quickly? This is my saying. I went to school at Louisville, Wichita Falls, and Mansfield Timberview, right? My thing is, you can claim all you want, but if you pushing me out and I pull out a gun and shoot you, are people going to have the same sentiments of, well, he shouldn't have put his hands on him? Or, damn, nigga, why you shoot him? You could have did 1,000 other things. My thing is people talking about this nigga being an athlete, all that other shit there. If you was that scared to where not only you had to bring a knife, but you felt like you needed to use it, the only other thing that I can think of as to why that came out the way it did is black people's pride and the whole don't tell shit. You're going to be a bitch if you tell. You know what I'm saying? Because why didn't he tell on him? Other than the nigga shit that we, you know what I'm saying, niggas move like. Why didn't he tell on him? Because if that was a little Asian kid, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, we have this sense of you know, pride. Like, you know what, motherfucker ain't gonna tell me to move. You know what I'm saying? What you mean? This ain't your shit. How you gonna tell me to move? You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you?
Cool. That make it right.
For me to feel like that? You know what I mean?
Not your feet. Oh.
I'm saying if I'm in that situation and I'm 5'9", 130 pounds, you know what I'm saying? Here come a white guy, look real big. I think he may be over 6 feet or whatever. And he, you know, trying to pump me in front of everybody else. For what reason? I ain't bothering him. You know what I mean? My ego may get in the way. Like, man, this motherfucker think he fucking with it. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. Well, let's just accept that. I guess that's what I'm saying right there. I'm not condemning the young brother, nothing like that. I ain't like I said, I told my nigga the same shit. If I was locked up in Collin County with him, a white boy couldn't fuck with him. Even regardless of how people feel, you know what I'm saying, about how I feel about the situation. I would still fuck with him as a nigga as far as just like, you know, nigga, we doing the time. You got to do the time. It is what it is. And beyond that, but beyond your debt to society, my nigga, I don't have no issue. But my only issue is not with him. It's with people feeling like they need to justify it because he's black and the boy was white.
Oh, okay. I get it. The racial aspect, instead of right and wrong, is about black and white. That's what you
every single, because if it was white on white, would we be talking about it? If it was black on
blew over by now.
If it was black on black, would we be talking about it?
We don't even talk about what goes on in the streets every day.
So this is why I feel like my sentiments are so strong behind people, not only the racial issue, but people double down on the bullshit and share shit like the shotgun and the gun, talking about these monkeys better not show up to the track meet.
Yeah, all that fake shit, man. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it convolutes, it perverts the message, because I understand black people wanting to be behind black. Me personally, I'm completely on that shit. I'm just not on playing with a nigga because I can what's the word that niggas say that women don't have? Accountability. I can be accountable for myself. You know what I'm saying? If I do the shit, just like I've had cousins.
Did you say they say that women don't have accountability?
That's all.
What the hell?
It's a straight.
Go ahead.
But my point being with it is, it's nothing against the black boy, nothing against the white boy. But what I'm saying is, don't play with life as if because this white boy was bigger than him, because this black boy was black, that bringing a knife to a school function was okay. Stabbing somebody was okay. That don't make sense. Because I'm going to get on crack ass niggas too. I don't fuck with the white folks that be like, well, he ain't have a daddy in the house. I'm going to get on their bitch ass too, just like I do with the niggas about the bullshit. Because nigga crack, he got like, that's weak as fuck. Telling me about this nigga's daddy and all that other shit there. Because what the fuck, what they got to do with it? Because there's plenty 2-parent homes out here that niggas is you know what I'm saying, completely fucked up. Outside of that, he was a good kid. again, the problem is I feel like as a black man, outside of his accomplishments, he felt a certain type of bravado that he had to display. That's
let me play the devil's advocate here. I don't know how he get to school, or maybe he walk in the neighborhood is unsafe.
Corey, I can't let you do that with 2 parents in Frisco.
Let me tell you, I don't know why he had the knife. We know the knife he wasn't supposed to take to school. We know that. But in that situation right there, ego got involved or whatever. I'm saying me. I know that if a white boy would have came up and telling me I got to move somewhere or whatever, it's like
my niggas is on some shit like, hey, nigga. If I just talk to my niggas about the shit from high school. If one of my partners, when we go into a track meet, says I got a problem with this white boy, I'm gonna bring a knife. You know what I'm gonna say to that nigga? You bringing a knife for the white boy?
But I don't think he brought it for him or whites, period. You know what I mean?
Which ultimately proves my point of what the fuck are you doing?
We all agree he shouldn't have never had the knife. But in that situation, right? Suppose he do fight. So like, we're gonna throw hypotheticals of how we're gonna
hypothetical. I don't want to talk in hypothetical. I'm just talking about what happened and what the facts are. He brought a knife to a school function. Black people are defending that with bullshit. Like all the kids bring knives, and you know what I'm saying?
We can't defend that. No, not at all.
But hold on. But then he was in another nigga tent. The response is, well, everybody there's always a reason that. At the end of the day, a different decision could have been made.
But I don't. Now I'm gonna have to go. It's a tent, man. You know what I mean? Like it ain't a tent that you own.
Corey,
I may be over there hollering at somebody that I know.
School pride in the thing.
You what?
A nigga from Sherman can go under a Denison tent while it's raining.
I may be over there hollering at somebody I know. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Okay, cool. Okay, let's do this then. You hollering at somebody you know, a nigga tell you get up out the tent and push you. You pulling out a knife or you putting hands on him?
Me. Back then he made that be that big. I don't know. I may have to assess the threat. If I feel like if I have to punch with this dude right here, he could possibly beat me to death. Ain't no telling what
with the homies though, because he said he was with the homies, right? That's the whole reason he was there.
I haven't heard that. I don't know.
I mean, what you didn't hear, if I'm not mistaken, didn't it say that somebody around in the tent knew him, Jay something? And wasn't that a part of the folklore of, well, he was over there because he had friends over there?
No, I don't think anybody that was they said one of the people pointed out somebody that was a friend of his, and then the police went and talked to that person. So you know what I'm saying? They didn't say that person was under the tent or anything.
Because his friends were there?
We don't know that. I was just throwing a hypothetical. What if he knew somebody there? I'm almost certain. Why would I just go sit under the tent? I know nobody. And my school tent is over here.
But this is the thing. You feel like, why would I? I feel like, why would he? I'm saying that if you under somebody else's tent, because the crux of this, a lot of the argument is they were bullies. They were bullying him. They knew each other. 200-pound white boys. That's the general consensus, right, from the people that are defending this.
Well, that is bullying.
No. Have you ever seen Boondocks?
No, but I'm talking about what happened there based off of what these kids said. That was bullying.
Hear me though. In Boondocks, the series, there's an actual episode called A Nigga Moment. You ever heard of it?
Never have.
Okay, so that's basically a parody of real life. Basically, a nigga could be just minding his own business, not have any intent to do anything, and somebody do some bullshit. The episode was somebody parked a car in front of their granddad, and the granddad was like, well, damn, and was trying to be cool, but the nigga got out like, yeah, nigga, that's my shit, which triggered the granddad into a nigga moment. Now I become a nigga. Now I'm about to defend and you know what I mean, assert dominance in the situation because you played with me, right? That's a nigga trait, which can be used positively and negatively, but I just would like for people to accept the fact that no matter how successful this young brother was, no matter how he had life in his favor, Niggas have nigga moments. And the key to this, I feel like, is a teachable moment and not a moment where we need to be coddling the situation for future generations. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you. Let me ask you this. Let's see what Reniqua says right here. I think he does have a self-defense claim because although he had the knife, the school did not do their job. They were at an ISD location. The school is required to enforce their policies. The school is at fault by default because they had done their job. This would have never happened. Does the school play a role in it?
Oh, keep going. I'm sorry. What does it say?
That was it. She's blaming the school as well.
No, this is the thing. It's the school's fault. When I went to Louisville High School, there was a powder puff game, and me and our niggas went to Flower Mountain to meet the niggas from Marcus High School and have a full-fledged fight. Somebody got their back broke, some other extra shit. That's not the school's fault. That's niggas doing nigga shit. Like there's no, and the thing is, it's not a condemnation to say you're doing nigga shit. It's just an acceptance of, if we're gonna accept this culture for what it is, we got to accept it for what it is. And this little boy's pride got in the way of his future. The white boy, you know what I'm saying? That's a completely different conversation. And realistically, if you just want to know, my personal opinion on it is, outside of me being mad at people being outraged for the wrong reason, I understand the nigga. If you wanted to stab him, but just take your shit. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If I'm going to do something, if I'm going to shoot a nigga, rob a nigga, stab a nigga, cheat on my bitch, you know what I'm saying? Cheat on a test, motherfucking go out with my headlights out. I know I got to deal with the consequences. But people are acting like this boy shouldn't have to deal with the consequences. That's my problem. Because
I ask you this. If it happened on the street and they weren't at a school event.
Yeah, that's different. If you in a dark alley, or if you at somewhere to where like, oh damn, ain't no other option. But if you at a Frisco, Texas track meet, bro, only a few punches are gonna get thrown before all the white people are going crazy. All the fucking administrators, they're looking for a reason. They have nothing else to do out there. You pulling out a knife because you scared to fight a nigga or scared to tell on him is not acceptable. There's no validation for not willing to fight this nigga or tell on him. Bottom line.
I'll push back on that and say this. Obviously, they was having words or arguing or whatever before the stabbing took place. Didn't no adult Frisco ISD staff or anything come over there when they were arguing. So you don't know how fast somebody gonna get over there and break something up because they didn't come over there when they were arguing.
Okay, but at that time, do you think Frisco ISD or anybody around thought that this little boy was reaching in his bag for a knife to kill something?
But if you saw them arguing, as you would say, how long after the fight they're gonna be over here? Like,
are disagreements between schools normally non-lethal?
I would say no. Yeah, they normally not that lethal. But at the same time, so we live in a day and age where these kids want to see this type of thing, so they can go live on it and show the fight and all this type of stuff.
That's the thing that I was going to say as to why he would have stabbed him instead of boxing him, because he was scared that he was going to get beat up on camera.
I believe that plays a major role in these kids not being able to take L's. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, I'm okay with that without condemning the boy, because I don't live in that generation. But I can't accept trying to make excuses and coming up with things.
Yeah.
Like they were bullying him beforehand. They had gotten into it. They were disrespecting his girlfriend. They were known bullies. Unsubstantiated. Because I saw something earlier today where this dude sounded like he was talking like he was there. His daughters were there or something, and he saw the whole thing and basically was giving the black version. Like them two boys came up on him, all that. Come to find out that was fake. You know what I'm saying? And I was ready to apologize, be like, "Hey, shit. Well, apparently this is X, Y, and Z happening." But there's so much misinformation out, and people are so willing to attach themselves with a movement because people need validation and they want to be on the right side of history, that they don't actually take into consideration the bottom lines on things. I feel like the bottom line on this is a young kid took a knife to a school event And if they weren't into it, whether they were into it before or not into it before, both of those land badly on bringing a knife to a school event. Especially, you got, as far as I understand, if the reports are correct, you got a 4.0, you got like 16 scholarships. As a coach, as somebody, as a life instructor, you would tell somebody that's a dumb decision.
Yeah, thanks.
And not only did you make a dumb decision, but you doubled down and compounded your problems by not thinking about your own future and telling on this nigga. Because you think if he told on him right now and this nigga go to OU or some shit and become the best receiver or whatever the fuck, we gonna think about this nigga telling on a white boy at the track meet? No. But that's what he's thinking about. So I'm not going to tell him, even though I have all this opportunity in front of me, a 2-parent household in Frisco, Texas. What I'm going to do is prove that I'm a real nigga and say, try it again, nigga.
We got Reniqua that have something to say about this. How you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Good, good.
Right.
What you think?
Okay, so just to go back to my comment, basically what I'm saying is the school district is responsible. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, had they been doing their job, this would have never happened. Because think about it. When you on a school grounds or anywhere that involves a school event or function, a school is responsible for making sure all of their policies are still followed, which includes carrying weapons, whatever. So in this case, they had, the track event. Everybody is saying, that was the other team's tent. Okay. So they should have somebody there to prevent children from going to that tent. Now, you said to my comment that they didn't think, he's going to pull out a knife. He's not, But the thing is, why aren't they thinking, why is this boy even at that tent? Why did that boy feel like he was able to go and handle this child to remove him? That's my whole thing. If the school would have did what they were supposed to do to begin with, none of this would have never happened, regardless if he brought that knife or not. If he would have brought that knife and the school had a safety precaution set in line, he would never been able to be past that point to even get to a tent.
Let me respond by saying, if that were at Kincaid Stadium, this would have never happened.
Possibly.
I'm saying,
I missed that. What you say?
I said, if this were at Kincaid Stadium, that would have never happened.
Oh, okay.
So what's the difference? Why don't you know what I'm saying?
Frisco and Oak Cliff.
Say it again.
Frisco and Oak Cliff. That's the difference.
See, I don't know the difference. I ain't from Texas.
So they have expectations of this type of stuff possibly happening in black communities, you're saying. So they're going to be, on guard for this type of stuff. Whereas in Frisco, they're a little more laid back and don't think stuff can happen like this.
And that's their fault, because you got to stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
I mean, listen.
Come on now, the kids, they got school shooters all the time every year, and you ain't prepared for that?
There's certain universal laws that I feel like everybody, regardless of your bias, can agree upon. Does everybody agree that punching an old woman or a baby is wrong?
Yep.
Right. Okay. And before this incident, would we all agree that bringing a weapon to school or on school premises is wrong?
Yeah.
All right. And before this, would we all agree that if your life wasn't in danger and you killed somebody, that you were wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is, where is...
You froze up, bro. But here's where I would push back on what he's saying. I can't access what you think in the situation and whether or not you think your life is in danger. You know what I mean? That's subjective. You know what I mean? Maybe he felt like his life was in danger.
Yeah, because like he said, it's been a lot of articles and things like that giving false and misinformation. Like, I didn't see an article about like the twins jumping him, which would kind of make sense because the twin had said, I didn't see him get stabbed. So how you didn't see your brother get stabbed? You went to go get help? But then there's other people saying that the boy was pushed, the boy book bag was grabbed. It's just too many different stories going around to know what's really true or not. So at the end of the day, it's just like I just can't wait till the trial and stuff happen because they making it about race. And I get what he's saying. They making it about black and white, and it's not even like that. It could just be, kids being kids and doing dumb stuff.
That's why I wanted to stick to the paperwork. Even when it first happened, the things we knew that a kid had been stabbed and a kid had passed away. That's basically all that we knew at that time. You know what I'm saying? And people was creating all these different things. And now we have this paperwork from witnesses and what they saw. Okay, now I can say that, look, okay, he did put his hands on him. He warned him, if you touch me again, see what happens type of thing. And they argued, and then he grabbed him again. You know what I mean? So, like now the facts are starting to come out based off of witness statements.
See, and not even with that though. I'm sorry to cut you off. Not even with that though. The interviews with the father, the son, and the mama, right? When it first came out, the son did an interview and he stated that the brother had grabbed Karmelo's book bag, right? And that, that's what caused them to have a fight. Then the dad did an interview and he said, I know what my son told me. If y'all weren't there, don't speak on it. Don't give out false information. And then he also said that he forgave Karmelo. As a father, if your son was stabbed, why would you just forgive somebody immediately like that? 1. 2, he said, I know what my son told me. And he followed up behind that and said, there was no fight. But your son just said that your other son grabbed his book bag and they started fighting. That's how he got stabbed. So y'all lying right now before y'all even go to trial. And then it was a second interview with the son and the mother on the couch, and the mom just crying. She don't want to say nothing. Okay, understandable. I feel bad for you. You lost your son. But I also feel like it's something in this where the son is covering up what really happened. He's lying already before they even go to trial, because when he was on that interview with his mother, he was like, I'm not going to say anything else, to just spare my mom. And I'm just sitting here like, no, you ain't going to say nothing else because you don't want to accidentally say something that was really true and then it come back and bite y'all in this trial because you and your daddy already said enough and y'all ain't got y'all story together yet.
And I think a thing that stood out that you said first, he said that his brother grabbed his Karmelo's backpack. But these other witnesses are saying that, he grabbed Karmelo. You know what I mean? First he pushed him, and then after a short while later, one of the witnesses said he grabbed Karmelo. He didn't say he grabbed the backpack.
I forgot to say, and the father said he just grabbed his backpack.
Yeah.
This the interview. The father on this interview said out his own mouth, Karmelo grabbed his own backpack and he took the knife out his backpack. Then he stabbed his son. Like he just stabbed him. No. Your son did not say that on his interview. Your son did not say that on his interview. So this is going to be a really good case because it's just so much mixed information in this. But then the parent and that son, they telling everything before they even go on trial.
Mm.
And if y'all didn't see that interview, I would definitely look up that interview with Austin's parents. Like it's 3 different interviews with all 3 of with the mom and the son.
Yeah, I need to go back and look at that.
At the track field and the one with the dad.
Yeah, I need to look at that. Because they can't get their stories together. Somebody lying. When you tell the truth, you don't have to, remember the truth.
Yeah.
You don't have to remember the truth.
The one with the mom and the son on there, he said when the reporter asked him about what the dad said about forgiving Karmelo, the son was like, I am not like my father. I bet you ain't. I'm sorry, but I'm really feeling like, he lying because his mama is telling him to lie. Because that's why his mama didn't want to say. I feel like his mama didn't really want to say nothing because she's so angry she might accidentally tell the truth.
And then, we all humans. We know how this thing works. My brother over here arguing with somebody about something. I ain't just sitting back watching.
You hear me?
I'm moving closer or something. You
and
understand what I'm saying?
he tried to say he went to go get help.
My brother arguing, I'm definitely moving closer. Like, you know, if it pop off, we could do something to him. You know what I'm saying? So,
and this ain't even just a brother. This your twin. Y'all
yeah,
came out
you
the
know,
same
so,
womb.
yeah, let's be real about that part of it. You know,
Y'all best friends.
maybe Karmelo assessed the threat, man, and feel like it was worth it. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I ain't finna sit here and get jumped. I'm gonna set an example off top. You know, so it's just a tragic situation. I don't know what happened to Frost, but Frost, I appreciate you coming up, bro. Your opinion on it. You know, I agree and I disagree on some things. But I appreciate you, Reniqua. Thanks for your insight. I'm definitely gonna try to go find those videos.
Yeah, if you can't find it, you got my Facebook, and I'll pull them up and send them to you. Just inbox me.
All right, do that. Appreciate you. Well, I guess Queen ain't got nothing to say. She muting and unmuting.
I gotta deal with these kids. We start going a little bit earlier. You know, at nighttime I have to get these kids ready for bed.
Oh, yeah, it's late.
It's 9:40.
Hell, I'll just get off here anyway.
But what I feel say, I need to take a look at those interviews. Where are we at? They took the GoFundMe and then they went to something else. Where are they at with the payments? Because I can't see on that sends me what is that called?
Well, the GoFundMe never really even got started. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that never really got started. They've been on this Go Send Me for the longest right now. But I can look that up right now and see exactly where they are, because they had surpassed 100,000. You know, that's what it's going to take to get them out. But of course, these high attorney fees trying to fight it. You know what I mean? So I think they had jacked it up to like 200,000. Damn, I can't find them. Let's see.
And then on Facebook, I saw a video with him and the white boys talking. I don't know if that's real, but you know, you can never, you know how.
They had 290, basically 297,000, trying to get 350 now.
Well, how what's what you call it? What's the ticket?
What you mean?
How much it cost to bond them out?
It's $1 million bond, but they submitted the paperwork for a bond reduction, so he probably
$1 million. Damn.
Yeah, but they submitted the paperwork for a bond reduction, so he probably get that reduced. You know,
but yeah, that's too damn high.
Some people were arguing that was a high bond, but I saw also in a case that I covered the other night with David Pleasant. He was out in Little the same area, 19-year-old, and got shot by a white dude, supposedly in a drug deal while he was running away. The kid was 17 years old, the white kid, and they gave him $1 million bond. They gave both of them $1 million bonds. So I don't want to say, you know, because of his race or whatever, the bond was that high. No, they gave them white kids $1 million bonds too out there.
I think it's just based off the area. But that when you be streaming, it's best to pin all the comments so the people on Facebook can see what the people on YouTube is saying. Because it looks like on Facebook they're over there talking to themselves.
Yeah, it'd be all right. Shit.
All right.
My arm hurt.
Oh, you have a lot to learn, Grasshopper. But thank you, Roniqua. When you said to him, I want to see him. I want to see those interviews.
Yeah, appreciate you, Roniqua. I'm definitely gonna check them out tonight. But damn, I hate Frost dropped down, but it's all good. But anyway, like I say, I'm sticking to the facts. You know what I mean, or at least the paperwork. You know, we don't know if kids gonna tell lies and witnesses. I don't know, but as what we see right now, you know, them kids are saying that, hey, he was under the tent. They ain't know who he was. You know, Austin came and told them, you need to get from out of here. They was arguing or whatever. Karmelo warned them or told them that, look, all right, punch me if you want to. Put your hands on me if you want to. One kid says he pushed him one time, and a short time later, he grabbed Karmelo. And then that's where the tragedy took place. So I'm going to bring Roniqua back up. She must have forgot something she wanted to say.
All right.
No, I didn't forget. I was finna put my name in the chat so that way y'all can inbox me so that way I can send the videos because I do have all 3 of the videos.
Okay. Appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah, so that's where we are as far as the paperwork is concerned. I'm pretty sure more will be coming out, and we'll be doing some updates on this.
All right, salute everybody. Make sure I hit that like button, share, and subscribe.
Salute. Thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome.
Well, we have different opinions about, what took place, what the outcome should be in relation to Karmelo, and this is the society we live in. It can be divided down racial lines. Sometimes it can be divided between what's right and wrong, according to the law or morals or what have you. But this is where we are, this is what we have to deal with. And I guess that's the beauty of being human beings, man. We ain't gonna always agree. You know what I'm saying? And, let's see, TriStar say, yeah, it'll be more for sure, for fact. But I can't say this. And I say this time and time again, and this is not just for black kids, any kids, man. We live in a culture where violence, man, is pushed out, disrespect is pushed out there. It has become very, very acceptable. From the White House, you see the conduct of the president, how he talk about people, how they basically bullied the president, from Ukraine. You see all of these type of things, so that, this is the culture we living in. People like that as entertainment or whatever. But some of these kids, their minds aren't fully developed or whatever. So they're going to do whatever they can do, man, not to feel disrespected, misplaced emotions, and they may not have been raised that way, but it's the culture of the society that we're living in. So if I'm any parent, man, I'm trying to teach my kids that, look, there's always a thought before any action. And follow that first mind that tells you that, look, if I do this, I'm going to get in some trouble, and maybe some trouble that I can't get out of. So, and on the flip side, you got a kid, you hug that kid each and every day, because we living in a society that when they step outside them doors, you don't know what's going to happen, man. And that disturbs me. So that's why I continue my campaign on, getting this rap music out of here. That's negative. Having his influences, whatever, and you can only start, where you can start. So again, I appreciate everybody that popped out, chopped it up with me a little bit. This is a very sensitive topic. Stay out of them comments and things on these social media platforms or whatever. These people, whether this situation happened or not, they're going to feel the way that they feel about whatever race you are. It can be black people towards white towards blacks. Just stay out them comments. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it get to you. But until next time, I'm going to be hollering at y'all, and I appreciate y'all spending this time with me. Peace.
It's Cali. Let me tell y'all a story real quick. Of a younger who came for nothing and really went out there and did his big one. Yeah. Was pushing peace, I'm not no gunner, but them young thugs are on my team. My Migo died, I feel like Quavo. When I take off, I hope you see. Dreaming of Rex all in my future. I keep hitting lotto in my sleep. Who fucking with me? I feel like they talking the way that I'm giving these niggas the beat. Where I come from, they'll kill you for 3 stacks. I ain't talking Andre 3000. I couldn't even spend my 50 cents cause they breaking and robbed the candy lady's house. I used to be next to my bae like Jay-Z. Then she cheated and I sent her bouncing. I been running it up since a young boy. Hoes looking for me like Great Nigga Mountain. I'm a young, humble beast. I don't even like to cuddle, they can't even touch me in my sleep, I ain't never had nothing, but I still split that with my team, Finna run up so much money, I gotta grab it with both hands. It look like I'm tryna sweet, 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 yeah, sweet, 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 yeah. I stay with blue faces like DDG, Polo G, through the pain, ran up them racks just to pop out with the finer things. No TIP, son, been fine with my daddy, I feel like king. I needed you and you wasn't there, just like J. Cole and a Drake beef. They did me shady, still stacking up Eminem. I need my money ASAP like Rihanna niggas. 7 p.m. Friday was touring my niggas, I don't need no Glorilla. My heart been blacker than Kodak ever since I lost my bro to that drug addiction. But he ain't dying in vain cause I'm pure cocaine on all of these instruments. I'm a young, humble beast. I don't even like to cuddle, they can't even touch me in my sleep, I ain't never had nothing, but I still split that with my team, Finna run up so much money, I gotta grab it with both hands. It look like I'm tryna sweet, 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 yeah, sweet, Cali.